Today I'm moving out of the villey and starting my most ambitious building project to date. Hopefully you stick around, because I'll also be using the power of science to determine the best villager for you and me. I'll be showing off all the villager traits that I consider viable, so hopefully you can make a decision on which villager works best for you. So stay tuned to find your favorite villager and to see how that goes for me. My name is Pineapple Man, but you can call me Penny. And thank you for joining me today in episode 3 of my survival series. Let's check in with Real-Time Penny and see if he has anything to say. So last episode I showed myself packing up all the bits in the village into shulker box, and I have actually gone ahead and moved them to the build site. And in between episodes, I've been preparing for today's big build.
Wow.
So here's a few clips of my resource collection. I was putting the new tool set to good use and managed to find this massive cave right below the new build site. The diamies were cool, but I was mainly here for redstone. I'm sure you've seen the thumbnail. Grinded out some more slime in the swamp, and a quick trip to the end dimension to repair my tools turned into an obsidian mining session. Kinda cringe, TBH. And so I finished up my epic resource collection with everyone's favorite, dispenser crafting. And whoa, is that the new build site I see? Welcome to the Science Plaza. The lovely music you're hearing right now was composed by my good friend, Dalton Eubanks. He made a song just for our Science Plaza. I really like how it turned out. So, the idea of the Science Plaza has kind of evolved. Last episode I addressed that it was going to be a museum where we stored artifacts and mementos from our experiments. However, I've decided that the Science Plaza will be my main base. I want to have a huge emphasis on interactivity and connectivity, with a very heavy push on interactive exhibits, sort of like if you've ever been to a Discovery Center. I'm going to get my boots on the ground, and then we'll talk a little bit more about the build site. So yeah, this is the build site. For the time being, I've organized this stuff from the villey in this temporary storage area, and there's really not much to see right now, so let me show you some interesting clips from when I was getting moved in. I noticed a thunderstorm when I was making the move. So I've never done this before, but I just put the creeper in a boat and a lightning rod nearby. It worked pretty well. The subsequent strike would charge the creeper and break the boat. Also, I totally got jump scared by that piglin. And on the next day, I transported my little buddies to an array of boats I had set up. Look at their nice little single file line. Surprisingly, there was no accidents. If you're curious as to why I would want charged creepers, it's because they can blast the heads off of mobs. Well, I forgot to show this off, but I wanted to show this off. I'm taking some time in between episodes, and you may have even seen it in the clips. Organize my ender chest a little bit better. So I've named all my shulker boxes, and I'm going to try and number them to the slots that they go in. I think I'll use the first 2 rows for this purpose. And then the bottom row will be stuff that I use often, like my fortune pick and stuff like that. Things that I'm like pulling out all the time. You can kind of form a muscle memory with this. Like if you only pull one out at a time, or if you keep them in order when you have them out. So this is 1, 2, and 3. So I access 2, and then I can just throw it right back in with the shift click. It goes right in the space it needs to. And my brain is kind of conditioned to see that yellow shulker box and be like, oh, okay, that's my consumables box. So the clips we're about to see is my quick trip to the nether so I could relocate my portals to the nether ceiling. If you're unfamiliar, you can actually access the nether ceiling. It's pretty simple, and you can do it with just 1 ender pearl and a couple of ladders. Make sure you bring the components to build a portal when you get up there. But basically, you'll just be striking the point where the ladder meets the top of the bedrock with the ender pearl. You'll want to walk forward and jump, and then you'll phase right through the ceiling. Real-Time Penny was explaining the bedrock breaker, when he made this 500 IQ play. I'll let him say it. Oh, are you kidding me? I promise I have a brain. Oh, at least my reaction time was fast enough. Hopefully you enjoyed my display of human emotion. Well, anyways, I did manage to get the bedrock broken. Check this out. Enjoy this time lapse of me destroying the earth for my wood farm. I did get a little bored, so I performed a summoning ritual for a new friend. He didn't like me very much, and was difficult to keep in frame. But eventually, I did kill him, and turned him into a beacon for the fam. Epic. Okay, so I finished the terraforming that I wanted to do. I didn't want to go too crazy with it because I'm going to be terraforming this place as I do builds. Alright, well, I'm going to jump into some resource collection, and then we'll go straight from the resource collection into the time lapse. But before I went to collect resources, I went ahead and did a villager delivery so I could get a little family going while I was gone. During the time lapse, I want to take some time to discuss the farm design. This was one I made for myself custom, but it is heavily inspired by Etho's chopper and Rendog's quadra chopper. Mine utilizes TNT dupers, which might be less ethical, but is much more sustainable. Also, my design has a manual system. You'll see the 4 control buttons down below. These mean that I can control the height of detonations and farm just about any tree type in this configuration. This design may look a little intimidating, but it's actually super simple. If you look at the cyan line, this controls the ignition of the TNT, and the lime, yellow, orange, and red lines control the delay by activating the purple line. You'll notice there's different amounts of repeaters on those lines, which control the amount of delay on the TNT drop and the height of the detonation. I'm really pleased with how the decoration for this farm turned out. I was aiming for the look of a ruined laboratory that's been reclaimed by nature, and I think I nailed it. Not every building in the Science Plaza will have this much detail or use this exact same palette, but in general, this is probably what I'll go for. Side note, I'm a huge fan of exposed redstone, so if you're someone who despises exposed redstone, hopefully the Science Plaza will help you turn that around. There's definitely a time and a place, and if the redstone's done nicely, the final effect can have an elegant look. Well then, that took about maybe 4 hours, but I'm super pleased with the look of it. Let me go ahead and get a fly around so you guys can see all the angles. So I am really trying to push the dystopian, disheveled factory / lab vibe here, and really going for a ruined look, and I really like how it turned out. Super cool. With the trees growing in, it's like this facility was once functional and is now being taken over by nature. Got calcification on the nodes there with these tracers, which I guess is kind of like power or water or something. I'm not sure what those are supposed to be, but I kind of like the futuristic look that they provide. Anyways, I'm sure you probably want me to show off the farm. I don't know if I showed it in the clips earlier. It actually wasn't running properly. The timings were wrong, so I fixed that. And now it should be good. I have not tried to grow big spruce trees here though, and I had a realization when I was up there building some of the decoration that This might not grow big spruce trees with these columns here, so I'm more than happy to take them down. It's not going to be the end of the world. I'm not super in love with those columns anyways. Let me try and do a quad blast. Okay, cool. I'm going to go ahead and core out the centers because if I don't do that, the farm will explode. To core the trees, I just used this upper loft area and align myself with the drop chute of the TNT. Check this out. Right, so I'm going to go ahead and core all the trees, and I'll make a quick cut. It's primed. Dropping. Sweet. Yeah, I'll probably double pump both of these. I'm just curious how much wood we're gonna get. I'm thinking probably around 8 or so stacks. Depending on how much I lose. Alright, so I think everything is intact. Go around, pick these up, and then I'll double pump it. Double pump time. Cool. I'll just run the top one again. Maybe have to even do a 4th pump on the top one. Yeah, that might actually be an orange. Let's see. Wow. This is just really satisfying and super easy to use. I thought I was going to dislike the manual system, but I'm liking it a lot. Oh, that was an orange. Might be. Stubborn log. That's kind of user error, to be honest. Skill issue. Yeah, that's a lot more than 8 stacks. I don't know what I was thinking. Only 35 sappies, though, so that is kind of an issue. I know there's some down here in the core tunnel. Oh, wow, it looks like there's a lot in that one. Let's see. Oh. Okay. I'll have to check the footage. I don't know. My offhand was probably full the whole time. Okay, so that is more than enough to grow a second set. It's almost, we almost doubled the amount of saplings we got for double spruces. So this is really awesome. So almost 16 stacks of logs. That's nuts. And of course, with this option to do the manual system, we can do any type of log in here basically, other than mangrove. I mean, I probably can do mangrove. It would just maybe not. I'm not sure if it would grow with the decoration nearby. But, mangrove would be a giant mess. So I might make a second farm for mangrove. Yeah. So hopefully you enjoyed that. That was sort of part 1 of the science. The real science happens now. I put together a spreadsheet that I'll link in the description, but I determined that around 53 unique villager trades exist that can earn you emeralds, and only one is non-renewable. So I put together a few that I like. The toolsmith is an obvious choice for players that have an iron farm. You're probably going to want to zombify and cure this guy so you don't torch your iron supply. The butcher is a bit slept on in my opinion. If you like to manual farm, you have a lot of options, but also if you want to auto farm hoglins, you can farm tons of raw pork chop. The cartographer is a really interesting choice because when paired with the librarian and a few cures, you can actually loop for infinite emeralds. The cleric is a favorite of mine and in my opinion an S tier villager. Rotten flesh is super easy to get from many sources, but especially a zombified piglin farm where you'd also get gold. The extra trades are kind of a bonus. I feel like there's no villager that's more popular than the farmer. Pretty much everyone has made a pumpkin and melon farm and traded with these little dudes. Note that I forgot to add wheat. Cringe. And almost every item you can trade with the farmer is fully automatically farmable. The fisherman is a really great option. Fish farms are usually very easy to construct and produce large amounts of drops. And take note of that boat trade. Since boats are single stackable, the villager will never increase your costs. And with a boat costing just a bit over a log, this might be one of the best early game villagers ever. And for the star of this video, I'll be using the Fletcher combined with my wood farm to generate a ton of sticks and make hella emeralds. Sticks are a very easy resource to obtain, and they're not too tedious to deal with, unlike the boat. The leather worker doesn't bring too much to the table, but the leather trade is really great, because if you pair this with a butcher, your byproduct from the hogland farm, leather, can be traded away. Similar goes for the librarian, but the ink sac trade is pretty unique as it's an item you can farm directly and doesn't require any crafting. The mason is a really practical choice. Not only can you farm cobble and smelt it directly, but you'll also likely have a lot of these materials lying around anyways, especially if you do large excavations. Last and probably least is the shepherd. Shepherds are quite interesting because you can trade for wool, but only white, brown, black, and gray. Finally, they can trade all 16 dye colors, so farms like flower farms, squid, wither rose, iron golem, cactus, sea pickle, and skeleton could be applicable, so this is kind of a versatile boy. But I suppose it's time to address the ravager in the room. Just build a raid farm. Raid farms outclass almost every source of emerald income from villagers. But hopefully this gave you some early game ideas on which villager works best for you. Back in our world, I spent some time getting our Fletchers ready. Check out that MLG villager bucket. Some minecarts got stuck within one another, and they move as if they're being pushed by an entity. Unfortunately, this resulted in villager turnover. This is the face of a man who has committed an accidental war crime. And so I'm back here with all the wood we farmed in that previous clip. I'm going to be trading this with all my Fletchers and just seeing how much emeralds I get. Okay, I made it back, and check this out. Managed to get just under 4 stacks of emeralds. That's pretty good. And considering the amount of time it took to actually use the farm and chop the logs and trade, it was maybe 7 to 10 minutes, which is not an amazing rate, but I think it's pretty respectful for the early game. Well, that's definitely all I've got time for today. Hopefully you enjoyed today's science, and leave your science suggestions in the comments below. Let me know what you thought about the wood farm build. Personally, I'm really satisfied with it. I'm definitely going to be using it a lot. Thank you so much if you made it this far. It means a lot to me. And if you wouldn't mind subscribing, it's free and it increases my serotonin levels. Please check out Dalton Eubanks, linked in the cards and in the description, for his awesome song, The Science Plaza. Next episode, we'll be working in the Science Plaza, making a storage area, and tidying other things up. You're not going to want to miss it. I'll see you there.